Good morning. Welcome to the podcast. Let's see what we're going to talk about today. I think we're going to talk about the relationship between thought and no thought in meditation. So I often find myself thinking about the topics for this podcast while I'm meditating. Things become clear, things codify. I might realize what I want to talk about later in the morning while I'm meditating. There's a clarity of thought that comes with the meditation. That feels very good. It feels very healthy. It feels very complete, very creative. But the objective for the meditation practice is precisely the opposite. It is not to become attached to the thoughts. It is to observe the thoughts and observe the behavior of the thought, observe the attributes of the thought. Right? There's a practice where the letting it be is the objective. That the noise of the ordinary mind is an obscuration of the true nature of mind, or the truer nature of mind. So when I become absorbed with a thought and follow that thought, I have wobbled from the objective of the meditation. And that's true also whether the objective of the meditation is to let it be and to observe, whether it is to peer into the nature of the phenomena, insight, or whether it's to concentrate on something. There's a practice where the focus is on one object, and all thought, all feeling should be centered around that object, and then any other thoughts are distractions from that concentration. So whether the objective is concentration or whether the objective is this letting go, the thought is a distraction. And if my mind follows the thought, I've wobbled. I've left the vow of the meditation. So does that mean that success, capital S, scare quotes, question mark, success in meditation is the absence of thought? And I would say no. Our brain, as long as we are alive, as long as our metabolism is functioning, as long as there's glucose available to the brain and oxygen in the blood and coffee in the cup, as you can see here, there will be thoughts, there will be desires, there will be fears, there will be emotions, there will be aspirations, there will be fantasies about the past, there will be delusions about the present. All of those exist within the ordinary mind, which is associated with the monkey mind, the core of our ape-like beings, the core of our human evolution has this thought-producing machine that contains our poetry, and it contains our language or communication. It's probably a different podcast, but that part is 25,000 years old, and the base mind, the natural state, is 4 million? Something like that. In terms of hard, even anthropological dates. That's a different topic. I'll write that one down and come back to that. It's an interesting idea that the development of language is such a recent phenomena in consciousness. So if the goal of the meditation practice is not to erase thought, but to observe the thought, to observe the space between the thoughts, that space will increase. Right? A settled mind produces fewer thoughts, but an alive mind produces thoughts. So I came up with an image, with a metaphor. So yes, my mind wandered during my meditation session because I really like this metaphor, and I hope it helps. If nothing else, I hope it helps clarify what I'm trying to say. Whether it helps beyond that, we'll see. We will see. So think about it this way. I'm sitting in a room, but I'm reading a book, and the book is 100% absorbing. It's the most fascinating book in the world. It's a big, dense book. I'm reading it. All I am aware of is the content of that book. I turn pages. I'm overwhelmed with new ideas, new stories, new characters from the book. Now, I am reading a book that influences my experience positively, let's say, but it could be a book that influences my experience negatively. It could be a poorly written book. It could be a well-written book about terrible subjects. It could be a terribly written book about noble subjects. All of that dynamic is part of my engagement with reading the book. I'm reading it hours on end, totally absorbed. And then I, for a fraction of a second, look away from the page and I realize I'm in a room, and the room is filled with other experience and phenomena. But the primary attribute of the room is that it has space in it that the book doesn't. My book is no less big, compelling, full, filled with ideas. It is no less the center of my concentration and attention, but I am now aware of it within the space of a room. I'm aware of the chair that I'm sitting in. I have the book and the room. And there are other things in the room to look at. There are things on the wall. There are other books on the shelves that I'd forgotten about because I was so absorbed with the book I was reading. But there's also this primary attribute of space in the room. And my book is now part of a larger space. I may still be entirely focused on the content of the book, but I am also aware that there is something that is not the book. There's a room with space in it. I managed to achieve a certain sense of equilibrium. I cannot let go of the book because I am absorbed by the narrative. I'm learning from it. I'm horrified by it. Whatever the experience is. But then the room has curtains and a door. And the curtains open and the door opens. And I realize that not only is my book in a room that has content and space, the room is part of a building which is in a field. And that I can see through the door this attribute of space, this element of space extends out of the room or in from the field, or is part of the same that the walls of the room are like the folds of the book, absorbing, defining, interesting and beautiful, but placed over this larger space, that the room has an attribute of space, and through the door I can see that that attribute of space continues into this thing called a field, which is flowers and grass. So there's a point in this metaphor that represents kind of the first realization in kind of the broader meditation, where I blow out the walls. And so now the room, the book still exists. I haven't let go of the book yet. But I've worked a different relationship with the walls and the field. And so now I have this concept of sky, because I can see not just through the door, but I can see above. Right? The book, my ordinary mind, has not changed. It isn't smaller. It hasn't been erased. The only way I'll let go of that book is from my cold, dead hands. Right? When I'm dead, I'll drop the book. Maybe. But it's in a totally different context. Now I have sky. And I look at the sky, and I realize that although the sky is blue, the sky is also part of a solar system, a galaxy. The sky is not blue. The sky is a different color, and there are other fields, other planets within this larger space. I might occasionally set my book down next to me and look up at the sky. But the book hasn't gone anywhere. Right? Ordinary mind always there, but now in such a totally radically different context that the action of ordinary mind is no longer the primary fascination. The book is still there. I'm always going to turn to it. I'm always going to read it. I need it. There's information in that book that is useful. But you see how it sort of positions it in a different context. Nothing has changed. Nothing other than the sort of the removal of the walls of the room, which is sort of a bizarre moment. Because they haven't really, it's not like they've blown away. They just no longer matter. Other than the change in the characteristic of the walls, nothing has changed. It's not like there was no space and now there's a ton of space. It's not like the book has gotten smaller. It's not like I've gone in and taken pages out of the book or erased words or anything like that. It's a recognition of the attribute of space being a broader bed upon which these things happen. I wonder if the walls of the room in this metaphor suggests a weakness with the metaphor, or a weakness with my ability to explain it, or whether this is actually a good indication of the points I need to clarify in my own practice. So, I think that's good for today, for today's meditation notes. If you have questions, drop me a line, zenglop@gmail.com, or put a comment somewhere either in the iTunes app or on YouTube. And certainly if you've listened this far, you should be subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, you You can do that easily on YouTube. So keep your wits about you.